All right. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be doing a rare but amazing video interview with my dear friend, Suzanne Adams. She is an amazing being. Not only is she a Leo like myself, she also is a speaker. She has spoke with Hayhouse with their online summit. She is a best-selling author of the amazing book, Musings of an Earth Angel. And she's put together this incredible retreat that's happening in April in Palm Beach. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, I really just want you guys to get to know Suzanne, get to know who she is, what her why is, and why she's showing up in the world in such a freaking fantastic way. So, hey, Suzanne.
Hey, Danielle, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored and excited to be chatting with you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I do, like I said, I do these on very rare occasions, but it felt right. I was like, you and I, we need to be having this moment for each other and for the world, of course.
Yeah.
So, okay, I would love to just, and I'm sure a lot of people ask, what's your story? Where did all this come from? Why you? But I really do want to know, what not only kind of brought you to that space of needing to make a change in your life, but making the change in your life and then being like, now I need to be a leader in this space. Not only have I used the self-help and spiritual community to help me, but now I want to foster it in a way that I'm leading others.
So just to break down my story very quickly, I lived a life that I like to call was surface level happy. Like if you knew me, you would have thought that I seemed happy. Like externally, like I was really surface level happy. And I felt like this constant yearning on the inside. I felt this constant need to search for validation and for happiness. And I was searching where most people search, through romantic relationships, through job achievements, through clothing and shoes, even though I always say I still like shoes. But, I was just constantly searching for the next thing to make me happy. And I got to a point in my life where I was at about 3 back-to-back failed romantic relationships. And I didn't understand why it wasn't working out for me. Like, why is this thing that's supposed to be so important and so magical not working out? And so to make a long story short, I was just at this place in my life where I didn't understand, like I had this great job, but it wasn't fulfilling me. I felt like I was just going through the motions. I was waking up every day and going through the motions. There was a voice inside of my head that says, there has to be more, there has to be more, there has to be more. And I got to a point where I was at a depression, and I wasn't really even aware that I was at a depression, but if it was 5 o'clock, I at least had a glass of wine in my hand and possibly a Xanax, like just to feel okay.
Yeah.
And it wasn't ever alcoholism or anything like that, but it was a dependency of some sort. And it was only a couple of months that it was that bad for me, but I just knew that there had to be more. So long story short was I ended up really catapulting on this mission, catapulting to understand energy, to understand happiness. And I became obsessed with understanding what makes people happy and understanding how, much we can control our energy and how much we can really create our own lives. And in all the, it was like I was so triggered, and I was reading and I was studying and I was training with everyone. And then I learned about life purpose. I read a book called The Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav, and it was good. And that rocked my world.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I learned about life purpose. And so what happened to me is when I opened up, I started to be able to see energy and have divine communication. And I thought I was going crazy. Like I didn't know all this stuff existed. And I literally almost checked myself into a mental institution because I was like, the stuff I'm seeing and the voices I'm hearing are not normal.
Yeah.
And so about that time is when I read the book, The Seat of the Soul, and I learned about life purpose. And I realized that we're really in the midst of a worldwide spiritual awakening, and more people's veils are thinning, and more people are opening up to their own intuitive gifts, and really just to wanting to claim their value and to own the happiness that they deserve to have. And I realized that it was really my mission and my purpose to help to teach people to navigate these waters as they're expanding and as they're aligning and all of that. So once I realized that, then it was just water under the bridge.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because very much in my own journey as well, once you get to this point of awareness, once you start to realize, yes, we are in an awakening and people are waking up to this moreness, this idea that, you can have a life outside of what society's timeline has
Yes.
predicted. You get into this space of like, I need to educate, I need to inspire, I need to kind of get out in the world. And what I appreciate about your story is, you had the light rock bottom, if you will, but because I think sometimes what people think, it's like, oh my god, I have to have this like surge where I'm like in the alleyway with the needle hanging out of my arm, right? And then I'll see the light, right? And like it has to be this like deep dark like place that we went to, and it's not to negate the experience we went through, but I think people need to realize like, yeah, maybe there is some dependency going on in your life. Maybe there is some light escapism, if you will, because you are trying to distract yourself from your everyday and you don't even realize it. And that's kind of how it started in my life too. I was always looking for things to kind of take me out, shopping, men, drinks, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I noticed how frequent the patterns were getting that I was like, all right, this probably isn't lining up. And so I sought out help. So I think it's good for people to hear that. It's not to say that you can't have these pleasures and these things, but you want to look at what you're holding on to. You want to look at why you're reaching for certain things. Are you reaching at a celebration? Are you reaching at a desperation, right? And to also realize that the rock bottom doesn't have to always be so like, Oscar movie style.
Yes, that's like a big piece of my mission too, is to catch people before they get there, because truthfully it's up to us how big or how little our rock bottom is. And if the universe can get our attention
yeah.
At a light rock bottom, then that's really, really important.
Yeah. No, I love it. I will have my rock bottom light, please. Thank you.
Yes, me too.
No, I love it, and I appreciate that. So, so how did you know? Okay, I'm going to start. Like, you started to get the kind of the divine interference, and you're like, what's going on here? And you started to realize this is all just a natural part of the spiritual awakening process. What led you to write the book, though? I'm really curious where that inspiration came from.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like on a mission. Once I learned about life purpose, I was on a mission to figure out what my life purpose was. Like, it was every day I was praying, and I was like, I just really need to know. And I started to understand that me harnessing the intuitive abilities and understanding how to only let the positive, powerful energy in, and understanding how to do it in a way that's joyful and fulfilling and not draining was part of that. And so I really was in deep prayer about, show me how I can help, show me how I can serve, because I had no clue what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So the backstory is I've always been obsessed with Twilight and Hunger Games. Like back when I was in my party days, I would be reading those books, and I would be like at dinner with my friends, and then I'd be like, I gotta go. And they're like, why? I'm like, I gotta go home and read. And they're like, what? You're not coming out with us? And I'm like, no, I gotta go read.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with those books. So I remember I was out one day on a jog, running, and like all of a sudden my feet like hit the ground, and it was literally like the clouds opened up. And I had this wonderful idea. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to write a trilogy about a girl having a spiritual awakening and how she ends up, connecting with the divine, and she travels the world. And like, I just knew what I was going to do. And so I wanted to create something that was magical and mystical, and something that people would be obsessed with, the way I was obsessed with those books. And, I love self-help books. I love personal development books. I'm writing a nonfiction book now. Like, I'm not knocking them, but sometimes they're boring, right? Yeah. And you just want an escape. And the thing that Musings of an Earth Angel accomplishes is that you get to escape and you get to journey, and it's fun and joyful, but all the while you're learning about divine communication and self-love and life purpose and, a better way.
Yeah. And I think that's really brilliant, because you're right. I think sometimes self-help books can be a little bit heavy, or they can be a little bit wordy, and you want the information, you're ready to move on, you're ready to go next level, but sometimes your ego might not be quite there yet, or your mental capacity or attention span, right? And so to weave it into a fantasy, to weave it into a really fun, playful story that you can get lost in while also learning these concepts is really amazing. And I can see why, you know, the universe struck you with that idea, because it's a very appropriate tool and a very timely tool. It's very much meeting with the times. I myself can relate to that, because that's why I started bringing the spiritual and the comedic world together. Right? Because same thing, I was finding I was giving these talks, these lectures, and sometimes I felt like I was being a little, maybe not boring's the right word, but I was like, there could be a little bit more life to this, or you know, we just went somewhere deep, and I feel like we need to lighten the space up again. And so using comedy for me has been a really fun way to still infuse inspiration, but also make light of it a little bit and let you laugh and just kind of, you know, make fun of ourselves in the process of enlightening ourselves.
Right? And have fun. You know, we're born to have fun, and that's such a big part of life, and such a big part of, we always talk about elevating and raising your vibration. Well, having fun and laughing and enjoying yourself does that. So totally, I'm so excited I'm glad we're collaborating, and I love all your talks and your shows. They're so funny.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's got to be funny. And I agree, because sometimes I find that we look to the spiritual world or self-help or these certain disciplines, again, as a way to kind of, to give us order and give us structure. And then is that really helping you? Is it really helping you to find another routine that you're wrapping yourself into, and all of that? So got to lighten it up, got to realize that we went into this to better ourselves, but also to have a really good time. And so that being said, a question that a lot of people ask me is, you know, your spiritual practice. So for you, your spiritual practice, are you someone that does have just like a routine, like it's got to be this way, or do you do it from a variety standpoint? How does it flow?
So I shifted it actually a little in the new 9-year cycle. There for 3 years, I had a very strict regimen. Like I would freak if I couldn't do it, because in the beginning I was so delicate, and if I did not do it, it would make a difference. But it's almost like in this new gusto of the new 9-year cycle for our 1 year, is like it wasn't serving me, and it was feeling exhaustive, and it was feeling like a chore. So I switched it up. So I do still have a routine, but it's not nearly as rigid. And, you know, I think, kind of going back to before I was really into spirituality, one thing that I did not ever do was sit still. Like, I did not sit still, and I was constantly busy. I was constantly making sure I was doing something. I was playing tennis. I was out with friends, like, because I didn't want to sit still with everything that needed to come up and be released. And so then I kind of went the other way, and it was like, we're going to heal this, and we're going to heal it now. Yeah. And, I was just in deep meditation for a long time. So now I'm kind of in a little bit of a balance with that. Yeah. I still do meditate for at least 20 minutes a day, but it's like, a lot looser of a schedule than it used to be.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I think you're right. I think in the beginning it does need to have that order, and you do need to create that container. And then once and again, it's not one of those things that, oh, I think I'm good now I can do this loose, kind of all over the place thing. It's like when you're really so in the structure, and you'll feel it, and it becomes a part of your being. Right. Then from there you can kind of create a different order while still every day showing up for it in a way that speaks for you. So
yes, for sure.
I dig that. So, okay. So another question that a lot of people ask me, and I know that you went through this as well. Okay. So you're not working that good job anymore, right? You made the shift. How did that go for you? What was the transition like?
Well, I think that, you have to really honor your process with this. For me, I did it the wrong way. Like, I just quit. Like, I got the download that I was going to write a book. Like, I got the guidance, like, you're taken care of, all is well. And I just quit my job. And it was scary at first, but free. Like, it felt liberating and freeing. And I had saved like a decent amount of money, so I really didn't have to worry about it. So I wrote my novel. I, started to build my business, and actually at this point, so we're about a year in, and I was making money, but not nearly as much money as I was making before. And I was actually training one-on-one with Gabby Bernstein at this point. And I had an opportunity for to do some part-time work in the corporate world. And she was the one that was like, honey, do it.
Yeah.
She's like, do it. Everything will open up for you. And I wouldn't, because at first it felt like failure to me to do that. And so I ended up doing it, and I'm still actually doing it because it works easily. And what's happened is my spiritual business has blown up, and it's like, I don't have to do it anymore. But it's like, why not? It's kind of a way, it's kept to ground me in a little bit of way. And what I've noticed is I'm very, very honest. I'm very, very open about what I'm doing. And people from that I'm interacting with have started to buy my book, have started to come to my workshops. And so it's really been this beautiful example of being the light and bringing light into places where it maybe wouldn't otherwise be.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I think sometimes we get into this space of we're so obsessed with this work, and we're ready to serve, and we're ready to do it in a big way, that there's this rush, right? Yeah. And it's almost like, if it doesn't happen overnight, then I don't have the proof that I need to qualify me to continue to do this. But there's this sense of hunger and urgency, and sometimes that can be really irresponsible. Yeah. And so while, yes, if you do just quit, will you be taken care of? I absolutely believe that you will. However, is that the integrity that your business as a spiritual leader and entrepreneur deserves? Maybe not. And Gabby actually helped me with that as well, because I was in a space, I did the same thing, quit my job, was like, I'll be taken care of.
Yeah.
I know 4 months later, I'm back in a corporate job again, because I couldn't do it. And what was great though, as much as I was kicking and screaming going back to that corporate job, paid for my Kundalini teacher training.
Right.
Paid for me to go to Spirit Junkie Masterclass levels 1 and 2, which I wouldn't have been able to do. And it was in Masterclass, I remember going and thinking, like, after I take this training, I'm gonna quit my job, right? Like, I'm gonna quit my job. Like, this weekend's gonna save me, and then it's gonna teach me everything I need to know so I can quit. And after the first weekend, I looked at my friend and I was like, I can't quit my job. Because I knew, and a lot of what her teachings were, you can't come from a place of desperation. Right. And you have to use the income that you have now to invest in where you're going, and trust in that. Right.
Totally. And investing like, we all spend money on clothes, on cars, on rent, but like, you have to invest in yourself, and you have to be willing. And Spirit Junkie Masterclass was one of those things that was really, a catalyst for so many of us. And you have to be, I've never flinched. Like, if a retreat showed up or a coach that I wanted to train with, I never flinched, and I just invest. And, I'm training with Hayhouse right now. And
I saw that. That's so awesome.
Yeah. And it was the most expensive check I've ever written in my life.
I'm sure.
But it was worth it. And like, I don't even flinch. I never flinched, because I knew the second he got hundreds of applications, and he chose 20 people. And so it was like a pretty big honor to be able to do that. And it's like, we're a month in, and I'm already like, I've already got my money's worth. Like, amazing. Yeah. So I think it's really important to understand where you feel called to go, and to understand when you put yourself in these spaces where your energy is extremely elevated. And because what happens when you commit and you go to something, like a 3-day event, or like even like the Palm Beach retreat, you go, and even if you just sit there and do nothing, through osmosis, you will be elevated. Energetically, like, shit happens, and that's really the reason that I started to create these events, is because that's what helped me to grow so fast, and, to do all of these things.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And so I say, for anyone that's in a job and they're struggling to work the job while building something on the side, maybe it does mean that you need to look at another full-time or part-time option that works well with it. But at the same time, like, have a sense of honor of, like, you're doing the right thing, because it's still going to lead you to be able to invest in the right opportunities. One of them could be your upcoming retreat that you're having in Palm Beach, which I'm super excited about. I get to attend as one of your speakers, which I'm so honored and so on so many levels. But so the retreat, it's Ignite and Expand, and it's happening April 27th to April 30th.
Yes. And
I'd love to hear the inspiration around creating this event.
Yeah. So Camille Gore, who is my business partner, and she is similar to me and to you, and that, she has traveled the world going to all of these different events and really sees the benefit in them. And, we're so lucky that we have all of this digital learning, right? And I'm all for it. But there's something to be said when you physically step your feet and sit your butt in a room with a bunch of really powerful light workers with the intention to up level, with the intention to let go of all of the stuff keeping you small, to let go of anything that's holding you back and really catapult. And when you do that, magic happens. And so we've done 2 of these events in Sedona. And I'm not going to lie, the first one that we did in 2015, I was nervous. Like, you know, we had our group there. We had a pretty decent sized group there. And the first day, like, we went in and we just did these massive energy healings and expansion. And I remember looking at Cameo going, we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was so amazing. And so then last year, people saw the pictures and stuff from the first year in Sedona. And then last year, Sedona's retreat sold out 2.5 months in advance, and we actually oversold it. So we really have just, people were asking for more, and we love to incorporate the nature elements. And so the beach is such fierce energy, and we want to do, of course, the meditation and the energy work, but we also want to bring in some grounded teachings about wealth consciousness, about whatever it is that's holding you back. So for the people that choose to come to Palm Beach, when they leave, not only do they have the elevated energy, but they have the tools that they need to take their businesses to the next level. They have the tools to help their personal life, whatever is going on there. Yeah, and really have a new sisterhood and community, because that's another thing that these events do, is you end up having lifelong friends. Hence, that's how we met, like there's so many people that I've met that are so amazing and so brilliant from these experiences. So that's all the inspiration really behind it.
Yeah, I love it so much. And I agree. I mean, digital courses, there's something to be said for them. They're very helpful, but I've found that I've always gotten 10 times the benefit or the return, right? Through being in person, because when you make that tangible connection, then you can use the digital to maintain it, right? Yeah. Then it can be sustainable after, but having that in person is really important. So I'm so glad that you're, taking advantage of that. There's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be 100 attendees expected, correct?
Yes, well, around between 80 and 100. So it's exciting. It's going to be fun, and it's still enough to where it's a big enough group where the energy is going to be like fierce and powerful, but it's also like a small enough group to where we'll really get to know each other.
Yeah, I love that so much. And so in addition, so as I mentioned, I'll be speaking on it's the final night that I'll be.
You're going to be at the main event at the celebration party, and we're going to have a DJ, and you're going to be on stage with your jokes, helping everyone just to kind of really end on a high note and celebrate everything that we've all accomplished.
I'm very excited to bring the comic beat to the stage after the 3 days of inspiration and immersion. And so in addition to me and you and your partner, Cameo, who else is going to be attending that will spark people's interest?
Cassandra Bodznak, who is the author of Eat with Intention, and she is going to be talking about how to connect to your intuition in a nutritional way, because all our bodies are different. Not everyone needs to cut out sugar. I mean, everyone could probably cut out some sugar, but like not everyone needs to go vegan. Not everyone needs no alcohol. But we all do have cellular makeups where we have to honor certain things, especially if we want to bring our highest, truest self forward. So she's going to be talking about that. We've got a couple of different yoga teachers. Melanie Harrelson is going to be teaching some yoga on the beach. So sunset and sunrise yoga, which that'll be like an optional thing. If people want to get up for the sunrise yoga, they can. But if somebody's like exhausted and wants to sleep, then that's fine too. And then there'll be like a restorative option for sunset at the beach too. And then we're going to be doing some Kundalini, which we may throw you on a stage for too. And Haley Hines is going to be teaching that, and maybe Cassandra might be teaching the Kundalini as well. And then I'm going to talk about, how to share your authentic voice. So that can come in a lot of different ways, but really for people that are ready to write their book, that's really been a hot topic. And I really want to help people that want to become authors and want to share their message. And we're going to dive deep into that. And we have so much amazing stuff
Yay. Oh my God, it sounds incredible. I'm so excited. For anyone that is interested, the information is on my website. There's a link right under my events, so you can get all of the information via their site about all the details. I'm just excited to be a part of it, not only just on the stage, but in the audience, right? And holding space and interacting with so many different people. It's such a joy for me to be able to experience it all. So I'm really excited about that. And again, it's April 27th to April 30th this year. So it's soon, but not too soon. So it's time to act now. And I know you still have payment plans available for it too,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, we have 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. So yes.
Beautiful. So amazing. Awesome. Okay, cool. So before we wrap this gorgeous interview, thank you so much again for just taking the time. I would just love to hear, what is the one thing that you wish you had known starting out that you would tell people now?
Like starting a spiritual business?
Or journey.
Ooh.
I like to end on a high note.
That is a big question.
Mike, let's get in there.
The one thing that I wish I would have known is you're going to have visions, and it might take a little bit longer for them to come to fruition. Yeah. But also that when you're in alignment, also more importantly, when you're in alignment and when you follow the guidance of your heart, not of your head, of your heart, magic starts to happen. And I believe that there's no level of fulfillment that can be reached through anything, not through the best man in the world, or not through all the money in the world. Like, if you're not doing what you're born to be doing, you're not going to have that ultimate fulfillment, and you're not really going to be able to reach your highest, truest potential. So I would say understanding the power in alignment would be more so than what I said initially.
Well, I love both of them because I think they play off of each other, right? It's that patience, but in that patience, there's this consistency and this momentum that occurs that does align you to your ultimate power, right?
Yeah. And I guess the point of that, the patience, is the understanding that it's a journey, and to figure out how to have fun along the way, and not just always be searching for the destination.
Yeah, absolutely. Because once you get there, you're going to be searching again anyway. So
for new destination. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. To enjoy the ride. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to just talk with me and share a little bit about your journey. I'm so excited for this event in April and just everything that you're doing in general. You're such a light, and I'm just proud that we're in the same circle and growing and expanding together.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure. And I'm honored and excited to have you joining us in Palm Beach, and to call you my friend too.
Yay. Thank you so much. And again, for everyone, if you're interested in learning more about Suzanne and the retreat, you can go to my website, daniellemercurio.com. Right under the events section is all the details about Ignite and Expand. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.